Hello, welcome to another episode of Mind Matters. Here we interview eminent personalities and try to learn best practices used by them to handle adversity. Let's meet our guest today.
So, friends, please allow me to welcome our guest for the day today, Ms. Nupur ma'am. She passed from Lady Shri Ram College and joined Tata Institute of Social Sciences to do a master's in human resource management. After passing out, Nupur ma'am jumped into the training field and has an experience of 12 years altogether. She loves being with her family and happiness is her topmost priority. So, welcome, Nupur ma'am. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So, ma'am, I'm so inspired by you. I had even taken my kids to meet you. So, could you share your life journey with our viewers?
Yeah. Currently, I'm working with Gale India as a manager training. If I go fast for, if I go to the my beginning of my life, I was born in Haryana, historical place, beautiful town called Narnaul. Grew up there till the age of 9, and that's when I lost my eyesight due to an illness called tuberculosis meningitis. That was a turning a challenge for my parents and for me too. Their school were not taking my admission. Hence, my father decided to put me in a boarding school at a very tender age of 9 in Delhi called National Association for the Blind. They gave assurance to my parents that I'll be taken care. They were worried that such a young girl, small girl, and they were leaving me in hostel. So they assured my parents, and that was the time when I never looked back. Did my schooling pretty well, went to the schools like St. Mary's School, Delhi Public School. Class 12 was not so difficult with the support of National Association for the Blind, who assisted me with all the assisted devices of audiobooks recorded in cassettes, braille books, which they printed in their own braille book library. So it was not so difficult. Graduation, I went to Lady Shram College. That was a difficult time because arranging for audiobooks, volunteers was difficult, and also the books, the volume of books were huge. That's when I requested my principal in Lady Shram College at that time in 2005 to allow me to keep computer in my room. And she said no, because girls will spoil or destroy the whole culture of the hostel. That was challenging, so I did not keep quiet because I knew that computer was a huge, will be the huge support to my reading and writing. I went to the dean of the university, got a letter saying that I should be allowed, as it is a book and a pen to a normal student who can write. It is computer to me, a person with visual impairment. Uh, I also went to the different directors of different national NGOs who came to my help and spoke to my principal. They could manage to convince her. So that was the biggest victory in the beginning of my as a student life. Slowly, there were a lot of victories. Getting admission in Career Launcher for preparing MBA. They were not really ready to take my admission, but with my conviction support, they agreed, and they supported me later on wholeheartedly. Uh, Prepared for my MBA, got a lot of calls from MBA schools, joined TISS, that is Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. Did my master's there. Now the challenge came later on when the time came for the recruitment or the placement. Profile was nice, studied from DPS, Lady Shram College, extracurricular activities are nice, participated in athletics, went for swimming competitions. It was resume selection was not a challenge, but when I faced interview, that was a huge challenge because they could not understand a person who has done so much uh, cannot see, and they had a lot of excuses, stories that we don't know whether we have policies, we don't know we have whether we can accommodate you, we don't know whether a person like you who can't see can contribute to the productivity of the organization. So there were a lot of challenges. Almost like 26 to 27 companies selected my resume, and by the end of the whole placement time, I got offer from three organizations called Dr. Reddy's, Wipro Limited, and HPCL. I decided to join Wipro. I thought it is a paperless organization, and it will give me a full access to contribute and support to the organization. So that's when I joined Wipro in 2008. It was a very happy time for me. But who knew that when I joined Wipro, I'll get no work and I'll still get salary. So it was challenging for almost 6 to 7 months. It took me a lot of time and conviction again to convince my colleagues, my peers there, a lot of seniors saying that a person like me cannot train in classroom. I joined the training team there in Wipro, and that's the reason they were confused and were not very sure how a person with visual impairment can train. They had questions like, what if people sleep in your class? What if people quietly step out of the class? How will you understand? So my only question to them was, and a request, that you give me a chance, help me arrange for a 2 hour session. All of you sit through, quietly sneak in, quietly come in, quietly go out, and let me challenge you. I'll be able to figure that out. uh, I was successful there, and then there was no end to it. I trained like 15,000 people in a year, training like 15 to 20 days a month, traveling all across the country, different cities. One day in Mumbai, the next day in Kolkata. So it was a lot of fun and a lot of satisfaction by the end of the day. Today, I work with GAIL India due to the family requirement. I moved to Noida from Bangalore, and I'm happy and contributing again as a trainer to GAIL India.
Amazing, ma'am. That's amazing. So, in effect, you were fighting two battles at a time. You were not only fighting your impairment, you were also fighting the attitude of the people who could not believe that you can be a performer like a normal person. So it was two battles at a time.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure because of your battling this out, and I mean the lesson which I'm taking is that whatever may be the circumstances, one should never accept something which is being denied to you, which is your right, and you have to stand up and fight for it.
Absolutely, sir.
Very nice, ma'am. Very nice. So after that, after you initiated those processes of having a computer in the hostel room for visually impaired people, now I'm sure everybody would be benefiting from your efforts.
Absolutely. I'm happy to share that our principal again made it a point to start a lab where she kept computers only for the visually impaired students studying in her college. Then Karan Lancha also made a policy to hire, enroll students with visual impairment or with other disabilities to coach them for other further studies. I'm happy even the people who took my CAT exam now have made a policy, and it has become very for a lot of people to write entrance exam with 100% rights of this.
Very nice, ma'am. Very nice. So just by standing for your right, you have been able to affect bringing change in lives of so many people. Amazing, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
So how do you learn to handle adversity? How do you get the strength of character to face adversity and fight it out?
If I talk about adversity, I think it's a challenging thing for everyone. No one
Correct.
can adversity with a lot of happiness, and I'm no different like any other human being. When adversity came to my life, when still comes, I also cry. I also kind of give up sometimes. I also feel low for a day or two. I also lock myself in a room and say I'm good for nothing or I can't do. But what pushes me out of it is my goal again. Uh, when I sit back, try to understand what went wrong, what I could do differently, and where is my goal? Am I really, by crying or keeping myself locked in a room, am I really supporting or reaching my goal? No. So I have two ways. Either I can keep sulking into it, or I get out of it, and achieve my, if not entire goal, at somewhere reach near my goal. So I choose that's next to second one, and I start working around it again. Pull myself out, sit with my friends, sit my well wishers, with my parents, with my friends, with my husband, and understand what else, if not this way, how else can I achieve my particular goal. So that keeps me motivated, that keeps me energized, that keeps me giving my 110 120% what I had given earlier.
Yeah. So, ma'am, how do you set your goals? Do you have a bigger long term goal and you keep on having smaller short term goals? How do you do your goal setting?
I generally, as an individual, I believe in having small goals, and
Okay.
when I achieve small short goals, that keeps me motivated, energized again, inspired again to achieve the next goal. So if I
Okay.
tell you the small goal of mine, currently, since all of us are working from home in this COVID time, my smallest goal is to give my 100% to my work and also to take care of my house and my family, because there's no domestic help available right now. There's a
Correct.
child is not to the school where teacher is helping him. So the small goal right now is to take care of everyone and keep myself also happy with contribution to my official requirements.
Okay. Okay. So, is there any um, uh, concrete, like goals are supposedly associated with some milestone? So, these many
Yes.
hours I have to work. So, is there any milestone that you set to a goal or to that short goal, or how do you go about it? I'm sure our viewers would learn more about it.
Uh, for me, yes, I completely agree about those smart goals which are measurable, specific, achievable. So for me, the measurement of goal is by the end of this COVID, probably what I have given myself an estimation of till, let's say, October, after which things would be a little more smooth and nice. And my son will have his Olympiads in October, November. So my measurable goal would be that he, at least he in his favorite science is his favorite subject, so he clears that and gets some medal in science. That's my measurable goal. Another
Okay.
measurable goal that I have is I plan to write two articles, which is my official requirement. Write them, get them reviewed by few peers, and get them till the stage of publishing it.
Okay.
So these are two measurable ones I've kept for myself till the end of October.
Very nice, ma'am. So it's better to have some measurable goals so that you can measure your performance.
Absolutely.
Very nice, ma'am. Ma'am, another thing which I learned from what you said earlier was doing a daily review. So when you face
Yeah.
adversity, you keep on reviewing your effort. What did I do
Yeah.
wrong? How can I improve it? Rather than sulking that why didn't the things happen the way I wanted them to happen, one should be solution oriented and try to find alternatives to the efforts which one
Yeah.
has made. So can you give us an example on this?
Yeah. So long back in 2005, I was preparing for my CAT exam. Um, I was very happy. I was putting a lot of effort, practicing, writing a lot of mock tests and all. My CAT exam was on 20th November in that year. On 1st November, I received a letter from CAT authorities at that time saying that my scribe is a person who write exam for a visually impaired person, cannot write my exam because they had some terms and condition for the scribe. As per them, the scribe should have scored less than 50%, and scribe should not be above cleared class 12. So junior student was required, whereas my scribe, whom I had chosen, was in first year of graduation. So that's where their challenge, their concern was. I received this letter. I cried. It was a Diwali time. I did not go home because I wanted to study hard. But that's when I decided it's all over. I cannot write exam because my scribe will not be allowed, and whoever class 11, 12 student would be allowed inside to write my exam may not be able to read the exam also properly, the questions to me properly. So I had given up. I cried, sat back. That's when one of my friend came to my room and said, "Okay, even if you're not studying, you stayed back here to study. So you're not studying. So let's go back, go to your home and let's enjoy Diwali at least with your parents. She was from West Bengal, so she used to go for Diwali with me to my house every year. So, like every year, we went that year also to my house. My parents were very happy to see me. It was a surprise. We celebrated Diwali, and next day we sat down. I shared the whole story with them, what happened, and I'm not going to write CAT exam because of this. My parents, my siblings, both my brother and sister sat with me, and that's when name of a teacher who was also a lawyer popped up. She was into human rights and practicing. So she suggested me to talk to the disability commissioner at that time in 2005 and share the whole story with him. She also
Okay.
shared his contact details with me. I spoke to him and shared the details with him. He immediately took an action and sent the facts in the letter to the authorities, CAT authorities, saying it is against the right, it's against the human fundamental rights. Um, we went to the college back within 3 to 4 days. I got a verbal apologies from IM authorities saying that it is wrong. We understood. You can take your own scribe. And on 11th November, 12th November, I also got a formal letter from them that my scribe can write. So, solution, what I always tell to others is you should be solution oriented. Yes, adversity comes, but adversity should not be the end of the life. Uh,
Correct.
look at the different ways, like learning agility says, there are different ways of achieving one task itself. So you have tried 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sure there is fifth, sixth, and seventh one also. So I did that with my family, friends around, and with their support, we figured out and finally achieved my goal of writing exam. Although I didn't go to IIMs anywhere, it was a personal choice, but I managed to write the exam successfully. That was an achievement for me.
Very nice, ma'am. So, ma'am, in today's time, a lot of people have lost their jobs, and for them,
Yeah,
the future looks very bleak. So, any
yeah.
message for such people? What, what would you advise them?
That I have been advising, I have been counseling and talking a few friends of mine who have also lost their job or concern that they may lose their job in a month or two. What I have been telling is there's zillions of opportunities sitting back at home. Uh, we can move into YouTube video recordings. We can move into investing online in case you have some money parked with you. We have whole lot of other with this mask and PPE kits coming up. Look at the opportunity that we can use and which is suitable for us. Now
Correct.
we don't have to step out of our house. That's the best thing. We can take
Correct.
online classes. You can do art classes in case you are good at art and craft. So look at what you are good at and make it as your strength.
Very nice, ma'am. So, focus on what you are good at and find avenues. You can make YouTube videos, you can do online classes, you can write blogs, you can be a creative writer. So many things that you can do, but never lose hope because things will eventually settle down and something or good will turn up. Very nice,
And
ma'am.
probably you'll be not dependent tomorrow on someone else to give you a job. You'll be the owner of yourself, boss of yourself.
Right, right. Very nice, ma'am. So, ma'am, what is your daily schedule like? What is your daily routine?
Routine is a little hectic. Uh, when I wake up all around 6:37, do a little exercise, do a little meditation. Then I get ready, get my son ready for his school and classes. I in the meanwhile I also try to finish the household chores and all of that. At 9:30, my target is to get back to work, and that's when my son is also attending his classes. Till 1:30, his classes are there, so till 1:30, I am also on my official task and completing things. 1:30, we take a break. As a family, it is a change now. Means after lockdown, it is change that all of us have started to have breakfast and lunch together. So as a family,
Okay,
we have it together at around 1:30. That's a very nice thing. My son has his break playing around watching television. I get back to my work till 3:34. I'm again back to my work for sometime 5. And that's when I kind of get out of my office work and sit with him, figure out what he did, what he not did. And with his homework, I sit with him till 7:30. I'm with him, and then all of us play together inside
Oh,
the house itself. Since although we kind of live in a society, but in society itself, we are not allowed to go for a walk or step out
right.
of the house. So inside the house itself, we have figured out what games we can play. We play hide and seek. We play some chotu motu games, which the child is also involved. We play for almost an hour and a half together. Then have
Very
to
nice.
get dinner together. That's my. Then I get almost like an hour and a half to myself.
Okay.
Do what I feel like, do what I like, and then retire to bed.
Very nice, ma'am. So you do your own cooking.
No, I don't do. I'm blessed with mom-in-law with me.
Oh,
So
okay.
she is the one who does the major cook. I'm like an assistant cook with her, sometimes chopping vegetables, sometimes providing her whatever.
Very nice. Very nice. So how do you keep yourself energetic, ma'am, for doing so many things? See, for my viewers, I would like to share that I'd come to your office to visit you, and you attended those trainings also. I did, and I saw you traveling all the three floors, all these staircases, going to every nook and corner of the office without any support. In case I didn't know that there was a visual impairment, I wouldn't even have guessed that there is any impairment. So in the household also, so how do you keep yourself energetic to do all this, do so many tasks?
Okay, so you have, although you have asked me one question, but I think there are two parts to it. How do I keep myself energized and how do I keep myself independent?
Okay,
So let me address a second one first. How do I keep myself independent? Is I think I'm a free bird and I want to be a free bird. So for everything possible, I try to learn it. Even if I'm not learned it, I'm doing it messily, I'm doing it dirtily. Let me do it, but I would want to do my things myself.
very nice.
Um, that's a challenge I take everywhere, even in the office. There were a lot of people. There are a lot of people to help me, escort me wherever I want to go. But I want to be myself. I want to do things my way and independently myself. So that's where the whole what should I say independence come for me. Second question, that is what keeps me energized, is two things. One is by the end of the day I should be happy that I have achieved, I have done whatever I wanted to. um, I had to submit few things I have done, so that keeps me going. Sometimes it gives me stress that I'm kind of over working towards it, but I think that little bit of stress is also required for the productivity.
Right.
The second thing is when you get satisfied, when there's a sense of satisfaction in life, it gives you happiness. So happiness is topmost priority for me. I don't do things which really kills my happiness or kills happiness kills happiness of my family.
Very nice, ma'am. So in fact, nowadays people think that buying gadgets, buying a new car, buying a new house, those are the things which give you happiness. But as per research, that happiness, yeah, the dopamine flow lasts for only 3 weeks, and
Yeah,
it's only the daily sense of achievement which you get by meeting your daily goals is what gives
yeah,
you long lasting happiness. You are a,
absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
you are a living example of that.
My sometimes me and my husband we argue around this. We bought a car. He's a very car loving person, my husband. He bought a big
Okay,
car SUV, and I was like, "Kya karenge iska? What's the use of it? I would want to drive an Alto itself. And utility for me is to go to office and come back from office."
correct.
So he was like, "No, we should have a big car." So I think the personality varies and the priorities varies. To
Right, 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 right.
me,
No,
is
it's
my
very nice.
happiness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in fact, I sometimes tell this to people that everybody wants happiness, but one doesn't know that you have to work hard for happiness. And it's not by
Yeah,
achieving a certain position, getting a big job, or acquiring those material things. I mean, they are also required sometimes to a certain degree, without which we cannot function maybe. But to make one's life goal only to acquire these material possessions and to achieve that position may not be the right, may not be the only thing. We require that sense of achievement also.
What I generally say again, I'm into coaching. I'm a certified coach myself. Many times, when I talk to the students or people who have just got into job, I tell people figure out the right degree between your materialistic goals and the goals that you have assigned for yourself, which will give you happiness. Small example: when I was with Wipro, I was getting an opportunity to go on site, and I launched a program diversity there. That was a hardcore brainchild of mine. So my team was telling go to Paris, and we have acquired a new client. Do the diversity orientation program for them for 6 months, and you come back. That time
Hmm.
I was just a newly married person. I said no, that's not really happening. If I would have gone, probably it would have added stars to to my career, but I decided not to go because I wanted to be with my family, with my husband, because that was a crucial time of your life.
Correct.
Create bonding. So um, I decided to be with my family. So you have to decide what is good for you in the long run, what is not good for yourself. Uh, Again, another thing, I joined Gale, moved to Noida. I was doing phenomenally well in Wipro. I was doing very well. I was working as a manager there. I was getting a huge exposure. But again, my family, I was not able to give time to my family. So that's again, I decided to kill and give a little more time to my family and my son. So my happiness is a top priority.
Very nice, ma'am. Very nice. So sometimes people get confused, how much time to devote to work because that is also required for happiness. I mean, how to have a balance between work life and home life because both of them are important.
Absolutely.
So how do we decide?
Um, for me, I'm sure there is a grid. All of us know the important and urgent
Correct,
uh, work. Sometimes in time management also we use that grid. So
correct.
I kind of decide that what is important for me and what is urgent. If it is urgent but not very important, I decided to kind of uh, leave it, not focus much on that.
Okay.
Uh, something is, something is required from work, and still I think I need to give time for my personal life. Uh, it's not that I don't. I work around it and figure out if not in the morning, can I work in the evening?
Okay.
So figure out what is the best thing for yourself. You are the best judge for yourself. You have to.
Right, ma'am. I understand. So everybody would need their own personal balance, and but it's very right.
Yes.
So sometimes we get engaged in urgent work, which is maybe not that important, and as a result, we let go of the things which are actually important for our life. So there can be no
Yes.
hard and fast. There can be no hard and fast rule, but a balance has to be achieved. So, ma'am,
Absolutely.
any final message for our viewers?
What I would want to say is in this challenging time, a lot of stories we are getting to hear since all of us are at home. There is a lot of unhappiness, a lot of fights are happening. But in this time of, this is a tough time, stand by with your family, stand by with your spouses, stand by with your children. Children are not able to step out, they're not able to play with their friends. Elderly people are not able to chit chat with their friends outside the house. So stand by with your family and figure out the way how you can create how all of you together can create happiness at home, because happiness at home can be brought only by the family members. External things cannot really give you the happiness for long. So be patient, take care, listen to others. Even if you don't like things, keep quiet. It's okay, it'll pass off, it'll go off. Work on yourself, on your emotional stability, and you'll be able to take care of your family.
Very nice, ma'am. I was chatting with one of my friends a few days back. So he was telling me about, his son not behaving well, and 12-year-old son. So I told him that I asked him that how much time do you spend with him? So what it transpired was that he doesn't spend any time with him. So I advised him
Yes.
to start spending time with him. So what I find today is that he has quit all WhatsApp groups.
Wow.
So because
Wow.
maybe, so maybe
Wow.
because he
So
was
the,
finding.
it is the best thing, sir. I'm sure social media takes a lot of time. I'm not on LinkedIn. I'm not on Facebook. I'm just on WhatsApp, and that too again 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the night before I go off to sleep, and that's it. Throughout the day, I'm not there on WhatsApp.
Very nice, ma'am. So thank you for joining us, Nupur ma'am. It has been a pleasure interacting with you. Every time I interact with you, I get inspired.
My pleasure too, sir. It is all pleasure of mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.